What's going on, guys? Welcome back to yet another episode of Breakfast with Perkins. I'm, of course, your host, Perkins. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's week is going good. I apologize. Not that you give a frick, but I'm trying to tone down on the cussing, at least within like the first, couple minutes. Anyway, these allergies, I don't know, for anyone that lives in Iowa, you already know this, but people outside of Iowa, our pollen count is through the roof, right? I think we have the highest pollen count in the country. I'm pretty resilient to most colds and sicknesses and flus and what have you, with the exception of ragweed pollen, and I guess now just normal grass pollen, which I never had the issue with when I was younger. You ever have that happen? There were certain things that you could do or tolerate in your youth. Then you get older, and your body's just like, nah, that's going to be a problem for you now. And it's horrible. It's like milk. I could drink milk by the gallon as a kid. I drink a glass now, I'm shitting myself in 20 minutes. I don't know what the problem is. But you know what? That's neither here nor there. I hope everyone's having a great week. This will be Tuesday when this comes out now, so I hope your Monday was going well. By the way, I forgot to mention, 2 new stand-ups came out that I've been wanting to talk about but never got a chance to. First off, Dave Attell had a new stand-up come out, and Jimmy Carr had a new stand-up come out. Absolutely love those guys. Dave Attell, I actually met and saw him when he was here. This was at Hoyt Sherman. I want to say I would have been 16, 17 years old, and my mom snagged me tickets to that. My first comedy show, my mom snagged me tickets to that, and that was awesome. And that was just like the snowball effect once I saw him. You guys might have heard of Dave Attell from Insomniac, the Insomniac show on Comedy Central. I don't know what it was called specifically. I think it was just called Insomniac, yeah. And then he had an Insomniac tour and all that stuff. Jimmy Carr, for those that don't know, is one of the biggest comedians, I would say, under Ricky Gervais. It would go Jimmy Carr. From the UK. Now, I understand as an American, British humor kind of goes not over the heads, because that makes it seem like you're stupid. I'm not saying that. But there's a lot of things that a British comedian will say that you may not get as an American, just because the customs and the practices, they're different. I don't want to come off and say like, oh yeah, you Americans are fucking stupid, that's why you don't get it. The same people that watch like Rick and Morty, no, you don't get the humor, that's because you're not smart enough to pick up on it. No, it's just a dumb fucking show. And I stand by that, which is really weird because I love Solar Opposites. Don't like Rick and Morty. Those are pretty much the same show. So, I don't know what's up with that. But, Dave Attell's new stand-up, hilarious. Check it out if you haven't. It's only like 40-something minutes. Jimmy Carr, his new stand-up came out. By the way, if you're into British humor or British comedians, well, I guess you already know who Jimmy Carr is, but if you don't know who he is, you want to learn more about him, he's got all his stand-ups pre-Netflix days on his YouTube channel. So there's, he's probably got 3 or 4 on Netflix, but then he's probably got about 7 or 8 on YouTube, and they're all hilarious. And he's really good for what he'll do is he'll have a heckle amnesty, where he'll invite people just to talk shit to him in the crowd. He's like, all right, so right now we're going to have a 20-minute heckle amnesty. So if you got something you want to say, just say it. And he'll invite the crowd to say whatever. And then he's pretty quick to comebacks. Like someone will say some shit to him, and he's just firing off. So if you get a chance, you like good comedy. This ain't that Jim Gaffigan. This ain't that who's the fucker with the puppets. This ain't none of that shit. This is proper good comedy. Check that out. One thing I wanted to talk about today, which kind of got me down a little bit, was retirement. Now, I'm a ways away from retirement, and retirement's nothing I got to worry about anytime soon. I'll probably die before I get to retirement. But I was watching, I don't know what I was watching, something to do with The Undertaker, and he was talking about how he loves wrestling. He wishes he wouldn't have to quit. And he says in here and in here, he still got it. But he says physically, his body just can't do it anymore. And I said, that's got to be one of the saddest realizations to have when you're good at something, you're good at your craft, whatever it is, wrestling, basketball, weightlifting, what have you. something you're really good at. Mentally, you're still with it and you're ready to go. And in your heart and all that, you want to do what you, but your body's just like, dude, we've had a good run, but we can't do it anymore. And it just made me really sad. And I thought about Ozzy. And Ozzy talks about all the time how he just wants to perform. All he wants to do, I just want to play fucking rock and roll. He just wants to sing. He just wants to do his music thing and all that stuff. But just physically, his body can't do it anymore. Now, he could go into a booth and he could record something and all that stuff like that. But performing is what he loves to do, and he can't do that. And I think that'd be a really sad thing to be faced with. It's like being a prisoner trapped inside your body. Now, I know that's a bit dramatic. I understand that, because you still got free reign and all that stuff. You can do all this type of stuff. But I would just hate that. And that's the one thing that scares me about getting older, is I don't, as of right now, I'm 33. I don't plan on having children. And at the rate I'm going, I'll probably never get a girlfriend. which is fine. It's whatever. So it'd be me by myself, which I have no qualms with. Actually, I can't think of anything more peaceful than just me being by myself, not having to answer to anyone, not having to do anything for anyone, just me doing my thing. But it would really suck eggs if, say, I'm gaming, you know, and I pick up a controller, and I'm like, oh yeah, and GTA 7's come out, and I'm, 84. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to play this. This is great. And I'm sitting there, and I'm, shaking with it, and I can't, the arthritis is kicked in, and I can't quite, mentally, I know I need to hit this button. Mentally, I can follow the story. In my heart, I want to play this game, but physically, my body's like, nah, nigga, you got every type of fucking, you got carpal tunnel, you got spina bifida, you got whatever it is that's not allowing me to play whatever. I don't know. It just seems sad. I know that's life. That's the circle. I completely get it. It's I hate the word depressing. It's saddening. So those that know, obviously, I am kind of new. Not kind of. I am new. Up until about a month ago, to PC gaming and all the stuff like that. With the release of the new Fallout show, which I love, by the way, I would get about halfway through a show, get about halfway through a show, and then turn on the PC. So I'm gonna start playing. So I've been playing Fallout. I got about another 30 hours since freshly downloaded on here, and they're talking about this next gen update, whatever it is. Now I still have a console mindset of, oh cool, a next gen update, cool. This is really gonna help us out. They're gonna give us what we need. They're gonna let us use these systems for what they are intended for. Let them use us to their full potential. But I can't have that mindset anymore. I need to have a PC mindset where, oh great, you're giving us 60 frames a second. That's great. I'm getting 144 minimum on this over here. So what the fuck is a next gen update gonna benefit? I can't even fucking talk. Gonna benefit me more. Fuck. So what I did was I updated the game. They sent an update. And I had been reading about things, this new update's going to fuck over mods on computers, and your mods are going to be broken, and all this shit like that. And I was like, well, let's just see. It can't be that bad for everyone. Sure as shit. Hit the update. None of my mods work. The frame rate's capped at 72, which, yes, is fine to play at. You can totally play. I'm playing on way less on the Xbox. But I've been playing much higher. So now it's this degradation. And I'm just like, ugh. Now the thing that I need to be able to run all my mods and stuff like that is called a script extender. And that lets me be able to run certain things, like take off the cap for the FPS and run certain menus in the settlement, stuff like that. Have access to other menus that wouldn't be in the vanilla game. But the script extender isn't adapted for the new update. So now it's, you either go through and download all these depots for Steam and then revert back to another thing, or you gotta sit and play the waiting game for them to release the compatible script extender for the new update. I said, fuck it. And I played God of War for the first time. I've never played a God of War game. I've been an Xbox guy, so we don't even have that on Xbox. So I played God of War for the first time, and that is a beautiful game. Very beautiful game. I'm about 3 hours in, and I'm loving it so far. It's really fun. I don't know how it differs between the other God of Wars of the past, but this one's really good. I like it. I love the dad-kid dynamic, and it actually just made me want a kid. Yeah, that's really all I wanted, was just a kid. I don't know. But I'm also not Kratos. Like, the kid's trying to shoot a bow, and he's like, "Not yet, boy. You're not ready." And I'm sitting there like, I do that with my son, but I look like a fucking idiot. Come on, man, you're not ready. Doesn't sound nearly as cool as when Kratos does it. Plus, he's a god, and I'm not. But I'm loving it so far. It's really fun. It looks amazing. And so I'm really excited. Actually, when I get done with this, I'm going to edit and do all this stuff, and then I'm going to fire that up and get that going on there. But I'm actually really excited for it. So that should be pretty cool. It's an interesting thing, having been an Xbox gamer all these years, and then finally being able to play PlayStation games on the PC, and you just sit there and you're like, this is what I've been missing out on. And you know about it because you hear about it, whether it's in magazines or gaming awards or from your friends, word of mouth, whatever it is. You hear about these games, you're like, whatever. And actually, my full intention, I was going to buy a PS5 this year, and then I was like, might as well just get a PC. I'm going to do editing anyway. Might as well kill two birds with one stone. So I went ahead and bought this. So now I got no need for it. I mean, I can still get a PS5 because PC gets things obviously a little bit later. They got to iron out the finer details and things. But yeah, I don't know. And luckily, these allergies are on the way out. Maybe not the allergens in the air, but as far as my congestion and stuff, yesterday was bad. It looks like someone beat my ass with a pool cue. Oh, it was horrible. I was sitting there. I took some Claritin Clear. That was stop and go, and then I was huffing Flonase, and it was bad news bears. But you know what? We're good now. We're good now. We're in the proper state of mind, and it's all right. We had a shit ton of tornadoes in Iowa. If you're in Iowa, you already know this. There was 3 tornado warnings, not watches, warnings. Pleasant Hill, which is a 20-minute drive from here, and then in southern Iowa, which couldn't give a fuck about southern Iowa, and then, Daniel, you got family from there. The only people I give a fuck about from there is my mom, and she's in Des Moines, so I couldn't give a fuck about that. And then there was something somewhere else, I don't know, but it did some good damage. It looks like Nebraska and Oklahoma got the brunt of it. They got, with no Vaseline. I mean, it was bad. Typically in the city, you don't have to worry about the tornadoes. You can get high winds and stuff, but you don't have to worry about getting your house swept away. You know what I mean? You might get a couple shingles that come off and a tree that gets down, but now if you're in the outer skirts, like your Bondurant and your Pleasant Hills and somewhere in Dallas County or wherever it is, those are the areas that seems to be like, we're coming for you and only you. So, but it was pretty crazy. It was a lot of sirens, a lot of chaos. You know what I don't like? I cannot stand this shit. People, and maybe it's because what I synonymize rain and high winds with. I don't like rain. I don't like wind. I don't like storms. I don't like any of that shit. Because when I think of that, I think of internet going out. I think of power out. When the power's out, the sump pump doesn't work. When the sump pump doesn't work, that means the basement gets flooded. When the basement gets flooded, that means there's water damage. When there's water damage, that means money's got to be spent to fix it. When money's got to be spent, that means less money being spent other places. It's just a big... So anytime I hear rain or even see, I almost said snow clouds, storm clouds, any of that, it's immediately met with like, ugh. And then I get on Facebook and all these basic women say, oh, I love the rain. Oh, it's so nice outside. You see the thunder, Kelsey? No, fuck the thunder, fuck the rain. I don't care about any of it. Just get it the fuck out of here. Because if this power cuts out and the food in my fridge goes bad, my basement floods, I'm fucking everybody up. So leave me alone. I don't want to talk about storms. But I will say, I do like rain. You know those, that usually happens in July. You know those rains where It's hot. It's humid. There's barely any rain clouds in the sky. But it drizzles. Enough to get the ground wet. And then the sun appears through the clouds, and the sun's refracting off of like the water on the ground, and it's super bright, but it's still warm and humid out. It's almost like a tropical rain. I love those. I don't know why. Those very short, like bursts of rain. I love those. I'll sit through those all day. I got no problem with those. And I don't know why that is. And I like the smell of it too, as the homie Spec would call it, atmosphere. He goes, oh, you smell that atmosphere? There's a name for the smell of it after it rains. I forget what it's called, but I always call it atmosphere just because that's what he always called it. He's like, you smell that atmosphere, man? That smells good. One last thing I wanted to talk about. I wanted to kind of give props on, because I couldn't do it, but I see it happening weekly on my feeds, are these parents who, I value my alone time and my solitude and my free time. Love it to death. And then I see these parents, and every weekends are typically associated with no work, free time, relaxation, catching up on what you need to do. But these parents are at like baseball games and swim meets and track meets and all this crazy shit. And that's chaotic if you got one kid. I'm seeing these people juggle 2, 3, 4 kids. Boom, boom. Stacy's got a ballet recital. Oh, Tommy's got football practice. Oh, Kevin's got, his other thing over here. Oh, Trisha's got this. And they're just bouncing back and forth. I'm like, what? And that is so draining. Now, as a non-parent, I understand that when you have kids, it's bigger than you. I 100% get that and understand that. It's bigger than you, so maybe you feel an obligation. Maybe you're happy to do it. I don't know what the motivation is, but just seeing on the outside looking in, seeing people do that, I couldn't do that. So props to the parents that do that, because it looks draining as fuck. Couldn't do it. Let's do some questions really quick. Let's see. Let's start off with... we're going to start off, I like to do the thought-invoking ones first, because these ones aren't usually fun or funny. So, first one. What is something you want to accomplish before death? Something I want to accomplish before death. Moving out of Iowa. Which I'm assuming will happen long before death. I'm not really worried about that. That'd be the obvious answer. Something, I guess, more deep, though, would be establishing something that's going to outlive me. One of my biggest fears, and I didn't really understand this until I thought about it and it just hit me one day. I guess one of my biggest fears is fading into obscurity. Now, I know everyone dies, and it doesn't matter how famous you are, any of that shit. Very seldom do people remember who you are. We all eventually fade into obscurity. But to be out of the minds of people almost instantaneously while living, something that doesn't sit well with me. I don't know what it is. People say have a kid, because if you have a kid, then you're always the hero, all this shit like that. You're never scared of them. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to have a kid to be able to feel, relevant, or, you know what I'm saying? Not into obscurity. So to establish something, I don't know what that something would be, but to establish something that'll outlive me and therefore have me remembered by. Yeah, I don't know. All right, enough of that deep shit. Let's see, let's do a pick your poise. Okay, let's see here. Would you rather find a dead body while you're gardening, remove your own nipples using sandpaper? That's a no-brainer. I'd rather find the dead body while gardening. My own nipples with sandpaper? I got sensitive nips. I'll be goddamned if I'm gonna remove them with sandpaper. Finding a dead body, though, it would add some interest. It would add something new to the day. How often do you find a dead body in the garden? Actually, there was a chick. I gotta find out who she was. I don't know who she was. She's on my Facebook, and I guess her kids were playing in a creek behind their house. They brought back human bones into the house, and come to find out it had been a missing person. Like an actual human body, and I was like, that's crazy. But awesome at the same time. Yeah, I'd probably want to find the dead body. Plus, who knows? There could be like a reward attached to the body, which would be kind of cool. Make a little scuttle while you're, gardening, which is pretty cool. I guess it also depend on how fresh is the body. How fresh are we talking? If it's just bones, okay. Freshly decomposing would be a bigger thing, because then you're dealing with like all the decomposition. The smell is probably god awful. You got a bunch of bugs and maggots in the eyes and shit like that, and the eyes looking at you, and the hair is still there. That'd be interesting, but again, it would still add a level of throughout the day, kind of keep things exciting and interesting, to a rather mundane, blah, merry-go-round of life. But you know what, folks? I think I'm going to land the plane there. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Drop a comment, like, subscribe, talk shit to me in the comments, do what you got to do, whatever. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.